Oh, the camera is on? Okay, we can start. Okay. Hi, everyone. Tonight, I'm so excited. Why am I excited? Because we are going to do something a little bit different. We are going to learn Gemara, specifically Masechtas C0VID. And this one is a sugya for the region of Montreal, Canada. And I'm so excited to learn this with you, Ian, in depth. Inside the text, we are here in Daf Aleph Amud Aleph. Everybody's there? Very good. Okay, so this was written for Montreal during the era of the pandemic of 2020. I know it's a long, long time ago, but if you don't learn history, you're doomed to repeat it, right? And we don't want that. Okay, chas v'shalom. Okay, now, in that generation, there were two Tanaim. One was Reb Legault, and the other was Reb Trudeau. And they had two shitas. One was strict, and one was even stricter. It wasn't fun, okay? So now, in the Gemara, we usually have, opposites. We have chayav, we have pater, we have asr, we have mutter. These terms, we know these terms. Everybody knows these terms, okay? But in this specific case, it was asr and asr legamre. And I'll give you one example. One said to wear one mask, and the other one said two. So it's just for you to chop. So let's continue. It says here they had something, a curfew. One might think, why or what is a curfew? It's for the kids' bedtime, right? No. This was a curfew for the whole city. No one was allowed to leave the house after 8 p.m. I know. We can't understand it because it's from the days of old. One day comes Reb Legault and says 8 p.m. No, we're going to change it to 9:30. And the next day he comes back and says back to 8. Okay? So it will make a big difference. Back and forth. 8, 9:30, 8, 9:30, 8, 9, 8, 9. The people were going with Shugana. Right? We can understand. So if the Yidden were accustomed to going to IGA to pick up milk at 10:55 because the store closed at 11, right? So now with the 8 p.m. curfew, the people had to go to the market at 7:55. The stores were closed. The shuls were closed. People were wearing shields. They were wearing gloves. They poured alcohol on their hands. They had no gatherings. Thank God we weren't born in that generation, let me tell you. Right? Okay. Let's get into the details of Ilchas gathering. Okay, next page. At first, Legault said no gatherings at all. Then Trudeau came along and said, listen, 10 people. Let them have 10 people. It's not so bad. Okay? And then Legault said, no, let's open it all up. Let's open it completely for the holidays. It wasn't the Jewish holidays, but whatever, still good. People were rejoicing. It was a Simcha Dika news. Can you imagine? We'll be able to see our families, right? But it wasn't so pashut. One may ask, why? Because Legault came a week later and said, no, never mind. Well, what is this, a game? The people were confused. Never mind. What do you mean? Are you trying to tease us? So it went back to 0 gatherings. And it stayed that way for a very, very, very long time. Did the people gather? I don't know. Would you gather? Maybe. Would I gather? Probably. The nisyonos that they had in those days are different. We don't know what we would do. We don't know. What's that? I know. So say Baruch Hashem that you weren't born in that generation. Say Baruch Hashem. No, say the word. No, say Baruch. Okay, very good. Okay. We have to look for the good. Yeah. Reb Trudeau, as here in Sif Beis, yeah? He says, okay, so in this daf, it talks about travel. Back then, they didn't have as many options as we do nowadays, Kanai Nahara. So it was either they traveled by airplane or by car. So if you wanted to leave Montreal via plane, at first it was fine. Then later, Trudeau came along and said no! I think his favorite word was no. I mean, it's unfortunate. Some people live like this, they're very negative. Everything is no. I mean, I know so many people like this. He said, on your way back, you have to quarantine for at least 3 days. And then he said 2 days. And then he went on to say 3 plus 2. And later he came back and said, no, 14 minus 7. What's that? Yeah. Next time, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring a chart, a whiteboard, and we're going to do a little, so you could see it clearly on a chart. Like this, it's very hard to understand. You need to see it. Okay. As far as the price, Reb Trudeau said it's going to cost 2,000 prutas. Okay? And then later, Reb Legault said, no, listen, 1,500 is kedai. Back and forth, they argued. I mean, one was strict, the other one was more strict. And in those days, there was a chacham. What did he do? Anybody know? Such a chacham. This is my favorite. This chacham decided that he was going to fly out of Canada and then return by car, thereby avoiding the 2,000 prutas for the quarantine hotel fees, right? He was a smart yid. This method was later adopted by the entire Jewish community. Such a smart, you gotta use your Yiddish cop. I mean, saving money, I mean, what do you want we should do? Stay at home. What do you want? We should stay at home. I mean, back to the text. Another shaila here was shuls. Nebach. They closed the shuls. They said close them up. They're breeding grounds for spreading the plague. That's what they said. I'm not making this up. Okay? And it says here in Tosfos that one of the reasons was because whenever they had a kiddush, people were touching the food and putting it in their mouth, putting it back and forth. And this was especially a problem with the pickled herring. Right? Because it's slimy, you touch it, you put it back. It was a real mess. Rashi then brings down another source and says, no, it was actually a Spartish shul. And they were eating, what's this? They were actually eating, it's a Lashon, it's called boulet de poison. This means fish balls in French, and this is what they were eating. So, there's different opinions. But the point is that Jews eat with their hands. What are you going to do, right? Who made this? No. There are too many chocolate chips. It's like melting all over my finger. It's good, but next time. So they blamed the Jews. I mean, they didn't say it outright, but they said this area is a problem. We all knew what they meant. Right? Okay. They couldn't go to shuls. The shuls were closed, but the theaters were open. I mean, the women were going crazy with the men in the house. They said, go to shul! Go to shul! Just go! It's actually brought down a story here in the Gemara that because they couldn't gather in the shuls, so they had to make minyanim outside in their backyards. So Rav Paprikov came along and said, shame on you! Why? Anybody know? Very smart. Very smart. Listen to this. He said, How can you make a minyan outside and not know whether or not you're standing next to animal or dog feces on the ground and yet you're saying Hashem's name? Right? These are the issues that they had to deal with. One day, Legault woke up and said, no, we have to close all the stores. Then Trudeau came along and said, Nebuch, look, open the stores, but just close the non-essential items of the stores. Okay? So I know, it's very complicated. We don't know these terms, but this is what they had to endure. We have to understand they had to persevere. Okay? It's gullus, mamish a gullus. What's considered essential? What's not? I mean, a Yid needs his Mishpacha magazine on Shabbos. Was this essential? Of course! Shabbos without Mishpacha magazine? I mean, Ashanda, mamish. But they can't understand this. They can't understand our needs. What's that? Oh, okay, she told me we don't have enough time. Okay, look, there's a lot more to cover, okay? But since we don't have enough time, before I leave you tonight, I just want to tell you something, because I know that some people, they have this archaic, old-fashioned, idea that women can't learn Gemara. And to that, I say, Adarabba. I mean, look what we cover tonight, right? Baruch Hashem. Kanai Nahara. So it should be that in the merit of the Jewish woman learning Torah, we should be able to greet Mashiach Tzidkenu immediately in our days and never look back at the days of old. Right? See you all next week.